Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another bootcamp class. Coach Jazzi here. And today we're going to spell out snowman. So it's wintertime officially. It's December. Happy December. But we're getting in the theme, getting to spell out snowman. So for that, it's a little bit um oh my gosh, longer. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. A little longer than usual. So there's 7 movements. We are going to do 3 rounds. We're going to do 50 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest slash transition time. We do not need any equipment. If you want to grab a mini band, feel free. You might definitely be able to use that, and I can show y'all once I grab mine out of the cabinet here. But I'm going to go ahead real quick with demos, and then we'll get right into it. So for the S, we're going to do a 1.5 squat. So we're going to go all the way down, halfway up, all the way down, all the way up. So that's our first movement. And then our second movement, we're going to do some narrow push-ups. So getting on the ground, we're going to have our hands nice and close here. So normally have them underneath our shoulders, but they're going to be a little bit closer here, coming down, exhaling back up. And then after that, we're going to do overhead alternating reverse lunges. So the top of our space, hands over our head, stepping back 1 foot at a time, pressing through our front foot. And then for the W, we're going to do a bent over L to W to overhead press. So that one, I think we did this last week where we're here in front, elbows, and then we rotate, reach up and back down. So it's going to be the W. And then for the M, we are going to do marches. This is where if you do have a mini band, you can always throw that over your around your toes, but we're just gonna march here, getting our knees up nice and tall. You can always make it a little bit more challenging and do a skip instead, but that is gonna be the M. And then for the A, we're gonna do plank arm raises. So either hands and knees or hands and toes, hands underneath our shoulders, and then exhaling 1 arm overhead at a time. And then for the end, we're going to finish out with some narrow stance squats. So feet closer than hip width, coming down and then pushing up. So feeling that in our quads a little bit more than a regular squat. So that is going to be our workout for today. So I definitely want to get right into the warm up. So we got 7 movements here today. So starting at the top of our space, let's go ahead and do the world's greatest stretch. We're going to interlace our fingers, grabbing onto one of our knees, pulling towards our chest. And exhaling, step back, reverse lunge. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg staying nice and straight. Nice big deep inhale. And exhaling, opening up towards the ceiling, looking past our hand, thumb is facing behind us. And exhaling, planting outside of our front foot, bringing our back foot a little bit closer and pushing our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And we're going to go ahead and when we're ready, exhaling, bring our feet together, push the ground away and stand on up. Perfect. Other side, coming on up, interlacing our fingers, grabbing onto our other knee, pulling towards our chest. And let's go ahead and exhale. Step back into our reverse lunge. Hands coming down inside of our front foot, back leg staying nice and straight, opening up our hips here. And exhaling, opening up towards the ceiling, gazing past our hand. Get a nice rotation going. And let's go ahead and exhale. Plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And let's go ahead. When we're ready, exhaling, bring our feet together. Push the ground away, stand on up. All right, last part of our warm-up here. Let's go ahead and do some plank to pike. Coming down onto our hands and our toes. And coming, push our hips up. Let's go ahead. Pedal our heels, start to open up our calves. You can do at least one breath on each heel. And let's go ahead. Push both our heels into the ground, poke our head in between our arms, opening up our back and shoulders. Let's go ahead, come back to plank. Let's just go ahead and do 2 quick ones coming up. And down. And last one. Going up. And then when we're ready, we're going to go ahead and walk our hands towards our feet. And when you're ready, rolling up to a standing position. And once we're nice and ready to rock and roll. So I've mixed up my words there. Okay. So we're starting off, we're doing 3 rounds here, 50 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. And we're starting off with 1.5 squats. I'm going to get the timer started here in 3, 2, 1, and go. So 1.5 squats, swirling all the way down. So our feet, before we get there, our feet hip width apart, toes are straight forward. If we need to open them up a little bit, we can point them out ever so slightly if our hips feel tight today. Coming down, inside part of the knee, right over a second toe, chest in the middle, halfway, and all the way up. So that's what our squats should look like here. Making sure too our butt is tucked into our belly button so our core is engaged as we come down. If we're noticing that our butt is shooting up first, and we have the arch in our back, we want to make sure our core is engaged because that's going to help prevent that. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Next up, narrow push-ups. So hands nice and tight here. 3, 2, 1. So instead of our hands directly underneath our shoulders, they're going to be a little bit further in. Elbows stay super tight. So we're here coming down. So normally, right, our elbows can be out a little bit. We normally have a 45. Want our elbows as close to our sides as we can get them. And this one, you can either do on your knees, on your toes, or you can focus on the eccentric only. And this is my reminder too. Acting like you have a tennis ball underneath your chin. So that way we're looking out, we're not looking straight down. So our neck shouldn't be fully flat here. Great job. Back is staying nice and flat. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Up next, we have overhead reverse lunges. 3, 2, 1. All right, we are alternating our legs, hands straight up over our head. Want to make sure our ears are far away from our shoulders. This one, that core engagement is going to be really important to make sure that we're keeping our chest over our foot and we're not bending at our hips. So that's why that overhead movement adds just a little bit more. One more thing to think about here. Pushing through our whole foot, heel, big toe, little toe, making sure, right, our weight is distributed evenly. We're not too forward on our heels, but our toes are also not coming off the ground. Just finding that balance here. Keeping our chin, a tennis ball underneath our chin. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up for the W, bent over L to W to overhead reach. 3, 2, 1. So setting up here, butt to belly button, slight bend in our knees, hips are back, palms are facing our legs. We row, just like a bent over row. Rotate up, reach, squeeze our armpits as we come back down. So this one, we're working on our shoulders with the overhead, right? We're working on our back because we're rowing. We're working on our rotator cuffs because we're rotating. And then as we come back down, we want to squeeze through those armpits so we get a nice little lat workout there as well. So we're hitting all of our upper body here. Really good movement for shoulder health. I know a lot of times we tend to focus on our the top shoulder muscle. 3, 2, 1. All right, talking too much, my bad. All right, next up we have marches, and you can do 3, 2, 1. So you can do just a regular march here. You can do a skip. You can do a banded march. So if you have a mini band, you can wrap that around your toes. Work on the hip flexors. You can also move nice and slow. Or you can do a forward march or a skip. Really, whatever feels good, as long as we're moving the whole time, as long as we're marching. Want to make sure that regardless of what we're doing as well, but to belly button, core is engaged, chest is open, we're nice and tall through our torso, keeping our core engaged. We're using our core and our hip flexors to get into that top position of our march. Those are our keys here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Back to the ground. We have plank arm raises and then a narrow squat, and then we got 2 more rounds. 3, 2, 1. All right. So for this one, we can either be hands and knees or hands and toes. I do recommend if you start to notice your hips are swaying to move to your hands and your knees. So I know for me it's helpful on this one if I have a nice wide base here. So normally in a plank, I'm like this. For the arm raises, or even plank taps, anything where we do have that single arm stability, having the wide base can help us keep from moving our hips back and forth. If that doesn't feel comfortable, if we're on our knees, tucking our pelvis, making sure we use our core and our arms. 3, 2, 1. All right. Standing on up, narrow squats. 3, 2, 1. Started a little too early. So normal squat, feet are hip width, narrow squat. They're not touching, but they're a lot closer on, and they're kind of going underneath our center of mass more than our hips. But everything else stays the same. So going down as low as we can. I know for me, my hip is tight, so I can't go as low when my feet are either closer or wider than hip width. But going down as low as we can, keeping our core engaged, so our back is flat, chest wearing our logo proud here still. Inhaling down, exhaling up. Using that whole foot, heel, big toe, little toe. 3, 2, 1. All right. That is round 1. 2 more coming up. 1.5 squat next. 3, 2, 1. So this one again, narrow, regular. So feet hip width, turn those toes out if you need to, if that helps you get lower. Another thing that you can always do to help with the depth, whether it's based on your hips or on your ankle mobility, is standing, like lifting your heels up a little bit. So if you have like, I know in here there's really not a whole lot, but if you have like something thin, even some books you can stand on at home, something like that, something that's about 1 inch, maybe a little 1.5 inch thick, that can help us get a little bit deeper into our squat. So if you're finding yourself like having the depth issue, you can always lift your heels. 3, 2, 1. The other option is to work on opening up your hips as well, but that's always a quick fix there. All right, narrow push-ups on the ground. 3, 2, 1. So getting ourselves situated, we're still screwing our hands into the ground. They're just a little bit closer. Again, elbows are going straight back. So instead of being out, are not even fully out. Instead of a 45-degree angle, we're right next to our body. That's the word I was looking for. Core is engaged, inhaling down, exhaling up. Keeping that tennis ball underneath our chin. And if you find yourself kind of shrugging up, I know sometimes that happens to me where I either shrug up or my shoulder blades start to wing. Bring your hands a little bit further down. So our hands should start here. When we're at the bottom, we do want them to be a little bit lower. So if you need to start a little bit lower on your push-up, that might feel better. All right, 3, 2, 1, we're done. All right, sorry. I keep talking too much today. My apologies, everyone. All right, overhead lunges are next. 3, 2, 1. This one, you can always make a little bit more challenging by holding like a weight or whatever you want above your head. Or you can take a mini band and place it around your wrist and push against that. That's going to give you a little bit extra tension through your shoulders. So if you are looking for ways to spice it up a little bit, that's definitely a good way to do it. But making sure we're pushing through our whole foot. Hip is not, it's too tight today. I've been standing a lot today too. There we go. As always, take it slow if you need to. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up are L's to W's to overhead. 3, 2, 1. So standing position here from here, rowing back. So we're making that nice L. So the reason why is because it looks like an L. And we're here making our nice W, reaching overhead, keeping our shoulders away from our ears. Squeeze those armpits down, rotate, and back. So multi-levels here. Really, like I said, we're working on our back, our rotator cuffs, and our shoulder strength. We're also working our legs a little bit isometrically. 3, 2, 1. I was going to point out something about our back, but we'll go over that the next round. All right, we have marches next. 3, 2, 1. So once again, you can do a regular march. You can do a banded march where we're here using our hip flexor a little bit more. You can also do a nice slow march. Focus on using our core, using our hip flexors. You can march forward. You can skip. You can skip forward. You can skip in place. Whatever feels good for you today, as long as, like I said last time, we have our core engaged. We're nice and tall through our torso, and our arms are hammering down. So those are the keys there. As long as you hit those 3 things, you can do it however you see fit for yourself today. 3, 2, 1. All right. Plank arm raises are next, and then narrow squats, and then we have one more round. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Again, that nice wide base if you need it. Otherwise, our core is engaged, so our pelvis is tucked. So we shouldn't be here like this. We want a nice straight line from our head to our hips to our knees, or even our toes, tucking our pelvis, exhaling, zipping our core together. Again, looking ahead. Should have grabbed a mat for that one. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go to my toes. And no, that doesn't feel very good. Okay, we got this. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm grabbing a mat. Next, that last round. Okay, the last movement here, narrow squat. Then we have a last round here. 3, 2, 1. You would think that after taking so much time off from working out, my body would feel better. But I think I need to stretch more. All right, we got narrow squats. Feet closer, knees forward, hips back. Chest open, core engaged. Everything is essentially the same. All of our key cues here between the narrow squat and our 1.5 squat, exactly the same. The only difference is our foot placement. And that's going to change how and where we feel the movement today. Moving nice and slow if you need to, pushing through our whole foot. 3, 2, 1. All right. Great job, y'all. Last round coming on up. 1.5 squats. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Think we're good on cues here. Just getting situated. Feels too wide. There we go. Okay. So do what feels good for you in terms of your foot placement. But as we get to the end of the year today, right, we're spelling out snowman. But if you have other things you want to focus on this month in terms of movement, definitely let me know. Also, if you have specific goals you want to work on next year, definitely let me know and I can incorporate them into class. Want to make sure we're all meeting our goals here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, narrow push-ups. We're done with our 1.5 squats. 3, 2, 1. All right. Nice and close with our elbows. If it helps you, you can always make the diamond and do more of like the diamond push-up where your hands are right underneath your chest. Elbows still stay close. Also, I'm sorry, y'all, my laptop has been acting up today and now it says I have low battery, even though I had more than 50% at the beginning of class. So if class cuts out, it's because my laptop died. So bear with me there. I really apologize in advance. I thought it was going to be okay. So we're going to try and get through as much as we can. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right. Up next, we have overhead reverse lunges. 3, 2, 1. So hands overhead again. Adding in the mini band if you want a little extra. But also making sure, right, our pelvis is tucked. This is a great test of overhead mobility. We shouldn't be arching our back to reach above our head. Definitely need a little bit more core work myself. So I can need to start adding that in to my routine. Maybe even a little bit more into classes. Great job. Finish strong with her lunges. 3, 2, 1. All right. Done with those. We have our bent over L's, W, it's overhead press. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we're here, rowing up, rotate, and back down. All right. Let's try and get as many of these in as we can. If I cut out before we're finished, we have marches, arm raises, and squats. If you're feeling it in your low back, bring your hips down a little bit more, really sink into your hips. Use those legs instead of our back. Great job. Last one here. 3, 2, 1. All right. We have marches next, and then arm raises and squats. 3, 2, 1. And then, like I said, if I do cut out, we still have 2 more after this, so it's a little bit longer of a workout. Remember, we have 7 movements instead of 6. It took a little too long with the warm-up, so my apologies. But if we don't have time, or if I lose y'all before we get there, go ahead and cool down with either some figure 4 or some pretzel, whatever feels good for you today. If you haven't rotated besides our warm-up, I highly recommend doing some pretzel. We definitely all need some rotation in our lives and in our days. We don't get enough. All right, finishing strong. All right, my battery's holding strong here. 3, 2, 1. All right, 2 more movements, plank arm raises, and then our narrow squats. 3, 2, 1. All right, I need this for my knees. There we go. Okay. Keeping our pelvis sucked. Taking our reach nice and slow. Shouldn't be a fast movement. As y'all know, 50 seconds. 50 seconds. No matter how fast we go. Want to make sure we're using our shoulders. We're using our core. Looking ahead. Keeping that tennis ball underneath our chin. Great job. Got a few more left here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last movement right here. Narrow squats. Where's my battery at? Perfect. 3, 2, 1. I think we're going to narrowly escape by before my computer dies. Keeping those legs nice and close. Pushing through. Whole foot. Exhaling on the way up. Chest is open. Should all be the same as our regular stance squat. Right. We're finishing strong. Final countdown here. Try and get as many as we can. Using our legs here. 3, 2, 1. And that is going to be it for today's circuit. So go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. I thought I brought my water in here. I guess I didn't. Okay, we're going to do some pretzel. Or real quick for our cool down. So making your way to the ground on your side. We have our checklist here. So our top leg comes up, over, and across our body. Knee and ankle stay on the ground. Bottom hand grabs on top of our knee. Top hand grabs onto our bottom foot or ankle. Nice big inhale. And exhaling, opening up towards the ceiling. We're going to do 3 breaths here. So making our exhales longer than our inhales. One more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can gently release out of that and make our way onto our other side, where we're going to do the same thing. So top leg comes up, over, and across our body. Knee and ankle stay on the ground. Bottom hand on top of our knee. Top hand grabs onto the bottom foot or ankle. Nice big inhale. And exhaling, bringing our top shoulder towards the ground. Again, 3 breaths here. So we got 2 more to do. Make those exhales nice and long. One more breath. And as we finish our last exhale, when we're ready, we can go ahead and gently release out of that, making your way back to your side and returning to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. But thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you had a good workout, as good a workout as I did. I'm a little sweaty here, but I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow in